the trading mechanic team. I have 4 stocks that I'd like to talk about. CRM is the first one here. Let's just dive right into it here. Here's the daily chart. Really kind of like this. We're really in a negative territory on the RSI. We have a nice daily gap that's underneath of us, kind of a support. If we go into the weekly, we can kind of see that we have a weekly daily gap right here at the same time as this daily. I really like it when the gaps actually meet up to each other here. And then, we did kind of, if you see this here, this is another little gap. We kind of filled over it. But the thing is the monthly candle is not closed. So it's kind of very similar to this area here. We take a look at that. It filled the whole gap, but it closed above. This is bullish to me here. I like this. So we go back to the daily here. Kind of give you a show of what I was thinking. And then, So we go to here. Let's see the kind of the path I'm thinking we'll end up doing in the next couple of days. To the end of the next month, and then push through. And here's kind of my price target area. So on the decline, potentially 10, but I think 22%. So that's not too bad to me. It's really, I like CRM for this. And their sales agents, I believe that's going to be quite bullish for them here. So the next one I was kind of looking at is GitLab. It's kind of the AI developer paradise. I kind of look at it as that way. So here, I've traded this one before. We have this nice daily gap. It's tagged back down into. I don't see it breaking this right now. If we go into the weekly, there's a weekly gap that we're into, and it's just, it's like one of these double stacked items here. I think it's a really good area to, get long. And then off the monthly, it's, I like it. I like it off the monthly, even though we don't really have that much data. But if you look at it, it's kind of like what everybody wants to call a rounding bottom. It looks like it's rounding and it's getting ready to start to come off on the monthly chart here. So if we go back to the daily, I'll try to show you guys kind of what I'm hoping and thinking will happen here. So my path, I really just wanted to recover to this area, almost, right at the 69.37 area. I'm going to show it here. So yeah, this is kind of what I'm hoping you'll end up doing. You get kind of really bullish right before the earnings here for, I guess that's June. Probably June here. Okay, so the next one we're going to go with. This one's very beat down here. Old Nike. So this one's got some interesting things. When I zoom out, I started looking at the, 2020 lows, and, we're floating right back down at them. And I kind of think this is an interesting position here. So if you go to the weekly, we're at the point to close the weekly gap. So this is I don't know. I like it down here. We have already freaking ripped down the RSI. We've made lower lows, and I just see that this can have a pop. Nike's a very well off company. Everybody loves Nikes. No, I know Cloud's coming in and eating a little bit of their pie, but I believe that they can really start to take off here. We're dipping down back into the bottom half of the RSI. Anything underneath 30 is kind of in the oversold position. We're getting to there, and I have a strong conviction I'll have something going on here. And then this is the monthly gap. If it ends up doing anything, if it rips down, I don't believe it's going to rip down any lower than this monthly gap here. It might test down to the COVID low, but I'm not seeing that personally myself. But we're going to always keep that in your back of your mind here. So when we get into here, we kind of look at what I'm thinking. And right now, kind of what I'm thinking is here. This should happen because we're in the point that we should start seeing at least a little bit of turnaround. We've been having a lot of bad news, and we're down in the low end of the RSI. Now you can see us start to rip up a little bit here. So kind of what I was thinking is below the COVID lows. It's right here. We're not too far away, the $60 mark. And so I was giving me a little bit of room here, about 70 cents worth. So, and then, just for a smaller profit, by July at least, I assume that we'd have this. I would see us ripping up to the 88.77 area. This is what I'm looking for. You can end up, taking profits out as we go up, in the 81, 82 area. We're going to see quite a bit of resistance right there, but I think we're in a good little position here to make a little bit of money off this one. So next one is Lululemon. This is kind of interesting here. So off of the daily here, we ended up pretty much closing this daily gap. We definitely were flirting around with this one. We really like that one. So I'm kind of going out into the weekly area here. That daily ended up turning into kind of a resistance level, which I kind of like that. That's really nice there. So now you close this big impulsive weekly gap it had here. So now that's closed. So now we got this lower one here. I think we'll be able to start to push forward here. It's looking really good. It got oversold. It got bought back up, which is really nice. We go on the monthly. We ended up, we kind of whipped through this little, what I would call a monthly gap here. You close that, and then just instantly got bought back up, which is really bullish to me here. I would say that we're going to see some higher runs here. So off of this, I am shooting for. Let's get you to the point where we're all looking for. This is kind of my path. I want to at least shoot for the 420 again, 422, that range. I'm going to kind of show you that. I'm keeping my stops right down in here. You know, like we have this nice RSI sold off condition here. I'm gonna keep it I'm gonna keep it a little bit below it. You know, that ends up being 12% for 25, so that's pretty good. That's risk ratio of 2, so that's very nice for me at least. You know, I could see that, you know, since we did this, see what we did. So we gapped down. Here's a nice little gap down. We ended up just running it down. Then all of a sudden we started coming back up. Lo and behold, we got back up to the gap. We fell back down. We tagged the gap. Fell back down. This time, if we get up there, this is third time's a charm. We're going to end up filling that gap right there. Honestly, I bet that we'll be able to push up, fill the gap, do something like that. Honestly. But you take what you see here and you decide what you want. You most definitely, you know, you can capture some gains here. It would be a good one. But I believe after I start looking at this a little bit more, I have a little bit more conviction now of that it can run up and do this. And maybe end up going ambitious and, you know, retest. But for here, this is a good one. This is a good level. So these two levels are good. That's like a gold. So it's just like take off half here, take off another half here, or you know, a quarter, and then take off another quarter here. If you get up there, or if you want, you can just hold it. I don't advise anything, but you know, it's a very interesting. I kind of like I like this one a lot. So, all right, well, that's about all I got today, guys. And if you like what we have here, you can like, subscribe, and then also follow me on StockTwits or TradingView. As you can see, I'm an avid TradingView user. So, all right, have a good time. Ciao now.